Facts presents the 1967 Shelby GT500. It is a classic muscle car. This was one of the first generation. It was called the 1.2 generation in 1967 because it has the GT500 motor. If you're excited, let's get started now. Okay, the Shelby Mustang is a high-performance variant of the Ford Mustang built by Shelby, American, from 1965 to 1967, and then by the Ford Motor Company from 1968 to 1970, and today we are featuring the 1967 GT500. In 1967, the Shelby produced the GT350 and the GT500, and the GT350 carried over the K code High Performance 289 with a Cobra aluminum high-rise, and the GT500 was added to the lineup equipped with the Ford Cobra FE Series 428 cubic inch 7.liter V8 engine with two 600 CFM Holley 4-barrel carburetors sitting atop a mid-rise aluminum intake manifold. Holy crap. Documented plans to introduce a convertible mid-production year were shelved due to supply, production, and financial problems that happened as soon as the first cars started to arrive at Shelby's Los Angeles facility in September. By October 1966, Ford took control over the engineering and purchasing. A.O. Smith was tapped to fix the fiberglass fitment and quality problems. 6 months later, in May 1967, the decision was made to terminate the California-based Shelby operation, and on August 18, 1967, a small staff, along with the remaining engineering cars, were sent to, it looks like, Lonia. The small staff of the newly formed Shelby Automotive Inc. had substantially less involvement after this time. Notably, the cars for 1967 included the 0100, the first GT500 built, the 0131, the only Shelby GT Coupe built, Little Red, which was the precursor to the 68 California Special. The original Little Red was rediscovered in a Texas farm field in March 2018. Need to read up on that one. 0139, the only Shelby GT500 convertible built in 1967. Note cars 0100, 0131, and 0139 were the first big block Shelby GT cars ordered and built. One 1967 Fastback was updated to a GT500 equipped with a 427 FE GT40 racing engine producing 650 horsepower and was known as the Super Snake. The car was capable of speeds over 150 miles per hour, hitting 170 miles per hour during a demonstration by Shelby himself. Of Goodyear's Thunderbolt tires, no cars other than the prototype were built due to limited interest. The cars sold at Meckham's 2013 Indianapolis auction for $1.3 million. For the 1968, the Cobra name was applied to both models, and there were now marketed as the Shelby Cobra GT350 and the Shelby Cobra GT500. The solid lifter K-code engine was discontinued by Ford, so Shelby used the hydraulic lifter 230 horsepower 302. It produced 250 horsepower and with a high-rise intake, but was not equipped with Shelby headers in order to make room for power steering. The early 1968 GT500 used the Shelby installed 428 Police Interceptor with a single 4-barrel carburetor rated at 360 horsepower. In 1967, the Shelby American built 26K code Mustang coupes to the FIA's Group 2 specification. This allowed the cars to race in the SCCA sedan class and the Trans Am series. The 1967 Mustang Notchback Group 2 sedan was Shelby American's competition model for 1967. The same rule that allowed the 1965 GT350 to compete in the SCCA's B production class. No rear seats effectively kept the Shelby Mustangs out of the Trans Am series. The 1967 redesign made for a heavier Mustang, along with a longer fiberglass hood and new front and rear fascias. The design of the original 1965 version was evident, but these styling upgrades gave the car a more aggressive appearance and achieved Carroll Shelby's goal of differentiating his car from the Mustang on which it was based. The separate high-beam headlamps in the grille added more character, while a thin chrome front bumper sat below a mesh grille with the classic Shelby GT350 logo in place, except for the very early cars. The small hood scoop was there to deliver fresh air to the engine. Shelby also included a horizontal sequential taillights from a 67 Cougar and in 1967 and a 65 Thunderbird in 1968. Had been integrated the cam-type rear spoiler. Functional rear brake cooling scoops adorned the rear quarter panels. 10-spoke 15-inch cast aluminum rims were the wheel choice with Goodyear white lettered radials. The GT350 was available with air conditioning and an AM/FM radio. The steering wheel was a wood-rimmed and satin-trimmed design with the classic Shelby logo in the center. Behind this wheel was a very classy-looking set of gauges. A 140 mile-per-hour speedometer and a whopping 8,000 RPM tachometer were joined along with a smaller analog clock, fuel level, water temperature, and oil pressure gauges. The 1967 350 came with an iron block 289 cubic inch 4.7 liter V8 rated at 306 horsepower and the 329 foot-pounds of torque. For a pushrod design, the GT350 revved relatively high, with the horsepower peak not in full swing until the 6,000 RPM redline. The 1967 was well before modern fuel injection came about, and the car used a single Holley 4-barrel carburetor. The true dual exhaust with H-shaped crossover system came standard with low restriction mufflers and chrome exhaust tips. Power was routed to the ground through a sturdy 4-speed manual transmission with a single dry disc clutch. A 3-speed automatic was made available as an option. The front suspension consisted of unequal length control arms, coil springs, adjustable tube arms, and an anti-sway bar. Out back was a live axle with multi-leaf semi-elliptical springs and tube shocks. The steering was a power-assisted recirculating ball design. The 1967 Shelby GT500 was the first model built in the Shelby GT500 range. It is based on the 67 Mustang and is equipped with an AE 428 cubic inch 7-liter Police Interceptor V8 engine, topped with an aluminum mid-rise intake and two 4-barrel 600 CFM Holley carburetors, producing 355 bhp at 5,400 RPM and 420 foot-pounds of torque at 3,200 RPM. 2,048 were produced in 1967. So 2,048 cars were produced in 1967. Several body parts of the GT were made of fiberglass, including the front end, the hood, the rear tail light panel, deck lid, quarter panel extension, and side scoops. If you found yourself this far into the video, we'd certainly like to thank you for taking the time out of your day for watching our video. And if you like our video, please give us a thumbs up. It really does help our channel. And if you like our channel, please subscribe, because we'll be doing all the muscle cars, the supercars, the hybrid cars, sports cars, autoramas, hot rods, custom cars, a little bit of everything for everybody. And we'll look forward to seeing you when we upload our next video. So always, always, always take good care. Thank you.